I think one of the things that was the most interesting to me when I first started to meet you was just the scale of what you do. Right. And at first, like when you first meet someone, you kind of judge by their title, right? So it's like
Right.
realtor.
Yeah.
But then when I started learning more about you, I'm just like, holy mackerel, you have so many things on the go. Right.
Yep.
And that to me was like fascinating. And every time we chat, you have 5 other new things that you want to talk about. And I remember this place, even when it was like, it was nothing, right? It was like,
infancy. Yeah.
right.
We were just chatting about what it could be.
Yeah.
Right?
Do you find that that's become your life now as you look at places and go, what can it be?
Yes, but there's a time period for everything, and I was able to take my business to such a level that, and to have a great team around me that allowed me to venture into some side projects. And like I didn't purposely go out and say I want to buy a church. I used to ride my bike by this church next door, and someone told me it was coming up for sale, and then next thing you know, I own it.
Yeah.
And before I had a game plan at all, I didn't know what I was going to do with it. And funny story, we were involved with a Rotary golf tournament, and my wife was away for a few weeks, I think, maybe visiting her mother. And she got back, and when she got back, she met me at the Rotary golf tournament. We had been enjoying a few beers, and my brother ran up to her and said, "Oh, did you hear what Tim bought?" And she said, "No, what did he buy?" And he said he bought a church. And this was before I had a chance to even talk to Judy to say, "Oh, this is what I'm doing." And this was a common occurrence in our household. I would come home from a day of work. She said, "How was your day?" And I'd maybe smirk a bit. And she said, "What'd you do?" I said, "Well, I bought a house today." And she said, "Oh, like, is that for you or for me, or what'd you do that for?" So I would see a good deal and thought, well, I have to jump on it. And selfishly, I wouldn't necessarily include her in all of the discussions. And like the church, it was when I found out about it, I bought it the next day because I didn't want anyone else knowing about it. And
So was it on the market?
no, it wasn't.
Just pre-market.
That one wasn't. Other ones have been on the market.
Hmm.
But that one in particular didn't hit the market. We call it an off-market sale.
Okay.
Yeah.
I find it fascinating that you didn't have a plan.
Yeah.
Like, I want to rewind a bit now in your
Sure.
life.
Okay, yeah.
Because to get to that point,
Yeah,
because at that point, you've kind of done a few things.
right, exactly.
Right. So can
Yeah.
we rewind? Let's start right at the beginning
Okay,
and talk about little Tim or where he comes from.
yeah.
Like, were you brought up in a wealthy household? Were you busy? Like, what was give me like the,
Yeah, well, we were, we were modest household of 7 kids. Yeah. And my dad was in real estate. My mother was a stay-at-home with 7 kids and 5 boys and 2 girls. And my father got transferred from Montreal, where I was born, and my twin, to Belleville with Bell Canada. And before Montreal, they lived in Ottawa. And he bought a piece of real estate in Ottawa and didn't hold on to it very long, but kind of hit a home run with it. And he got the taste of real estate while he was working for Bell Canada.
and how old were you at that point?
Well, I wasn't born yet. So my 2 brothers and sister were born in Ottawa. Then they got transferred from Ottawa to Montreal. And then Kim and I, my brother, with a female name, were born in Montreal. And then my dad got transferred to Belleville. But with Bell Canada, not in real estate. And then he quickly got into the real estate game. He had that taste of real estate in Ottawa with just one deal. And then he started working with like a well-known company in Belleville. And so he would have been, around 40. He had 5 kids at the time, took his real estate license, got licensed, and then the next step is to take your broker's license. Well, he was taking his broker's license, and his boss, his broker, like in real estate, you have to have a broker that owns the company that employs you as an agent. So you have to belong to a broker.
Mm.
So his broker said, "What are you doing, Ed?" And Ed said, "Well, I'm taking my broker's license." Well, that means that you're probably going to go out on your own.
Yeah.
So he had 5 kids and was newly, like a new agent. And his boss said, "There's the door. Take your hat and we'll see you later." So he was like fired
Yeah.
for taking the broker's license. And if you can imagine 5 kids at home and no income. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was quite a story. And then he continued on with his broker's license, and then he started hiring agents. And his company was called J.E. McKinney Realty, which was Joseph Edward McKinney. He went by Edward.
Yeah.
And like very, very quiet, unassuming guy.
Yep.
Who was quite a sense of humor and, a passion for real estate. He taught real estate for a long time while he was a broker. But if you can imagine losing your job and having 5 kids at home, and my mother didn't work outside the home. So that kind of built a bit of character for him.
Yeah.
And so I was brought up in a real estate family in Belleville and saw what he did. And he did a lot of dabbling. And as a broker, like you have a choice when you're a broker to be in sales as well as being the manager of the business. And he did more of the managing and running the brokerage than selling. Now my brother, Sean, who has taken over from McKinney Realty and then owns Remax now, he's more of a selling broker where he does deals on the side. He does a lot of commercial deals. And then he dabbles quite a bit too. So he's got his own projects and we have a family company that does things together too. So
very cool.
It's, it was just kind of growing up in that atmosphere and seeing what my father did and my brothers have done. Yeah.
So I guess when you see that, and because it sounds like he's very passionate about it too.
Yes.
So I think when you see someone who's doing well and they have a passion in it,
yes,
that is just like, it's fuel to the fire, right?
Exactly.
Like as a kid, you're just like, wow, they love it.
Yeah.
And they're excited by it.
That's
and
right.
They're making money at it. It's like, that's a win-win-win.
That's right.
Because that's the hard part is a lot of people go and find something they love, but either it doesn't pay very well,
right,
or it doesn't have a market. And
Yeah.
it's like, and the TAM involved with it doesn't actually generate anything for them.
Yeah. And like starting off in this business, it doesn't matter who you are. And we had name recognition right off the bat, but the first years were tough because I started during the recession of 1991.
91, wow.
And prices dropped in Belleville for that first 5 years.
Oh no.
And it wasn't easy. I did a lot of door knocking and kind of tried to build up my business, but I got to such a point, I started adding like an assistant and then developing a team that to get to the point where I bought the church, I had a team in place that were helping me get to the level that we were at and trying to maintain that level.
I always love the quote where it's like, if you want to go fast, go alone.
Right.
But if you want to go far, go with a team.
True.
Right. And
exactly.
It's like, it wasn't until I had my first employees that I realized how much more you can do with a team.
For sure.
Right? Especially as we're freelancers, as people who are just out there doing the job. That only takes you so far. And you can be really good at that and you can make decent money doing that. But like to go to those layers to get to the point where you can just buy a church and say, I'll figure out what to do with it.
Right.
You've got to put in those reps and you got to put in the time and all that. So the team, I want to talk about how a team adjusts everything. Right? And we talk about like controlled, unlimited leverage as an example, right? So you're being able to lever a lot more with a team, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So how far, at what point did you realize that you needed a team? And at what point did you realize that in order to do what you wanted to do, you had to have that team?
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So I did start off slowly with like basically hiring an assistant, and I paid the assistant a salary, and that was kind of new in the business when I started it. I wasn't the first one, but people that there's only so many hours in a day, and some of the things that we have to do administrative wise can be time consuming. And if you get busy being out showing clients, then you don't have time to do that administrative stuff. So it was basically hiring one assistant at a time. I think the first one I had She was 11 years with me in the business. And then she got licensed, and then that enabled, you're very restricted on what you can do as an unlicensed like assistant.
Okay.
You can't go out and show property. You can't meet the home inspector and open up the door. So a lot of restrictions. You can't pick up the phone and say, yes, we have this listing and it's this price. A lot of restrictions. So to enable us to maximize the use of her time, she got licensed. And then there's usually an incentive if she sells a house, she'll get paid a bit more on top of the salary. So that was like one assistant at a time for several years. And then it became 2 assistants and then 3. And then we're at 5 associates now, not assistants, but associates. And then, and one of them is doing the administrative, and she is unlicensed.
Okay. So that's very interesting. So if you're building this, did you have like a grand plan in mind? Do you start off going like, I want to do this? Like, is there, because I mean, so at what point do you shift? Because there's like 2 problems you solve in life. The first problem is like, how do I make enough money to keep survival mode going?
Right.
But eventually that tips into a thriving mode, right?
Yeah.
Where that's no longer your question. Your question becomes, what do I do now?
Yeah.
So walk me through that, like your questions that you went through, because you get to the point where, income generation is no longer the problem.
Right. Yeah.
So what becomes the problem then?
Well, I was finding, when you get to a certain point and you're so busy, there's a big thing called delegation, and you have to be confident enough in the people that you're delegating to that they'll complete the task or do what you're doing. And funny enough, now that I'm seeing the team in action, I'm like, wow, they're very good. And we go into a meeting and they're doing part of the presentation, and I'm like, Jumpin's like, I think she hit it out of the park there. Probably has done a lot better than I would have on my own. But there comes a time too where if you're trying to do too much, then business falls off. Like you're not doing what you should be doing with clients, like spending enough time or answering all their questions. So we've now kind of changed our business in that it's more of a true team approach with each client. So where I used to deal with all the clients, or maybe the clients at a certain level on my own, I now bring a team member in for all of the for the whole transaction, from the first day they call to say we're thinking of selling, right through to the closing. And it really helps when you have confidence in that team.
Yep.
And then we have Courtney that kind of does a lot of different things, but she kind of keeps things in order.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what does that look like for you personally too?
Well, it does enable me, and at the age I'm at, it enables me to do other things too.
Yeah.
So that when we got to that level, then things like the church that popped up, it's like, well, I can spend some time developing a plan and doing renovation, because I'm not just doing real estate. I mean, it can work against you too, but it does kind of broaden the horizon. And it's also, if you're doing the same thing for so long, it could get a little monotonous. But doing all these different projects really opens things up, and like every day is different.
It's kind of like a little side project for you.
Yes,
right,
for sure. Yeah,
for me, when we started up the podcast, that was the idea. Is like, we want something that's just for us, that we can have fun and build and experiment with, and that's what this is, right? So like that rings true. When do you when you're doing that side project, how much time do you put into your side projects at this point? Do you is it most of the time you're spending working with 10% in your side projects? Or have you got to the point where you can spend most of your time on your side projects?
And I have to be careful what I say, because there could be clients out there, but no, truthfully, I'm involved in the day-to-day selling every single day.
Yeah.
And these might take, a couple hours out of every day. So I'm still cold calling. I'm still working leads. I'm on the phone all day long. So, and I've always been very structured in working, and not like a lot of people work from home. I don't think I could do that.
Really?
I need to be in an office environment,
Mm-hmm.
and I've done this. Like my first job out of university was banking, so I had a 9 to 5 job every day.
Yeah.
And when I was 25, that was what I was doing, and it allowed me to have some structure. And then when I got into real estate, I got up every day and got to the office every day, same time, and I worked the full day, and then often would go out at night
Mm-hmm.
because our hours are all hours.
So real estate's really messed up in their hours because you've got the times that you've got to get some work done, but then people kind of get done work at 5.
Yes.
So then your next job starts, right?
Yeah.
It's just like there's 2 layers to it.
Yeah, and people that think they can just do a few hours a day and take nights and weekends off.
That's rough.
I had a young agent that I met quite a few years ago, and he said, "Yeah, I'm going to make a killing at this, and I'm also going to be skiing on weekends and going out partying every night." And I'm like, I don't think it's that easy.
Nope.
I've done it for a while, and no, you're going to give up. You're going to give up family time. You're going to give up weekends, nights. So there's a cost to the business.
Exactly. Yeah. There's a really good quote. I'd written it down and sent it over to Brady there. Yeah, it's as Malcolm Gladwell said, that achievement is talent plus preparation. Success is achievement plus attitude.
Oh yeah.
Right. So without that attitude of got to go out and do the work.
Yeah.
Right. It's like there's nothing. You need that attitude. You need that energy to go out and do the work to make it worthwhile.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I like Malcolm Gladwell.
Malcolm Gladwell. Yeah. He's pretty smart. So.
Yeah.
I noticed you do a little bit of charity work.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I do get involved with the community quite a bit. So it wasn't initially, but I have been involved with Rotary.
Mm.
And once you get involved with Rotary, it's all encompassing. I was the president during the COVID year.
Wow.
And, other Rotarians will get you involved in projects. I started with, they were wanting to start a new group, part of the same Rotary Club of Belleville, but that they would meet on a different night than the regular lunchtime. So I got involved with that and helped out kind of running it. And then you get on a committee, and then the next thing you know, you're on the executive.
Yeah. And
then you're working your way towards being the president. So I've been involved in Rotary probably 12 years and went through several years on the executive as well. And so it is kind of giving back to the community.
Yeah.
And it's a great way to network, great way to show that you love your community. And it is all encompassing. Like it's hard there's not really a dial where you can say, oh, I want to take 3 months off of Rotary. It's like you're in.
Yeah.
And if you're not, you're not.
Mm.
But I mean, I've done other stuff as well, but that's pretty all encompassing.
Yeah. The one thing that keeps recurring throughout these conversations is community, and more in particular people, and obviously as we're talking to people who live in the smaller area, what is it about community that makes people so, you've had success. You could be anywhere in the world right now, but you choose to be here. What is it about this community, and what is it about communities in general that keep people in locations? And why do you feed this community?
Right. And there's certainly a big segment of is that it is social. And I'm very social. I'm not someone that wants to go to a cottage up north and hang out, on my own or just a few people. So we like to be social. And when I say we, I mean our family. And the social part of that is a reason in itself to be involved. And I like to keep busy. The slow time of year for us is November, December. And I really found over the years that it would be almost a bit of a downer when when I wasn't busy in November, December.
Mm.
So I like to be busy all the time. And hence, that's why I got into some side projects too, just to keep me busy during those months.
Yeah.
And it worked out well.
Do you think it's from being in a family of like 7 people
Yeah,
that you crave that kind of community?
I think so. Yes, I think that's a good point.
Mhm.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially because I mean, I have my family's like 4 of us, including the parents.
Right. Yeah.
You know, and so like I knew that like when we relaxed, it's like we would be okay with just quiet time and just
Right.
like being
Yeah.
off our own little corners. And like often people when they talk about this area, so they can be, you know, at peace and be off by themselves and like
Right.
go off into the cabin in the woods, right?
Yeah.
But you're sitting there saying like, no, we embrace that and we
Yeah.
want that.
Yeah.
Right. And so then, you know, any time that I have free, I'm going to fill with not only time, but community time.
Yeah.
That really rings are true. And I think that being able to be to the success that you have, to be able to add that in is just, it's just adding another good thing to your plate. Right.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And we, just to give you an example, we have a family cottage out on West Lake.
Mm.
And it is basically anyone can come and go. When we built it, we had a calendar online to say, well, I'm going to have this week, you're going to have this week. But it became, no, we're all going to use it at the same time.
Yeah.
And if you want to bring friends, great. Then I'll bring friends. And it would almost be like a community. But, you know, if you can imagine 7 siblings getting along well enough to own a cottage and run a cottage, and that takes some commitment.
Yeah.
And it takes some flexibility. And a lot of our friends say, wow, I could never do that with my family. So we've been lucky in that we get along so well that we can do that. And some people say, I'd get sick of my brother or sister by then.
Yeah.
But it's worked out well for us.
That's amazing.
Mhm.
Yeah. I love that. What do you wish that, because a lot of people today, and this is like across the markets right now, a lot of people sitting there saying like, there's not enough work, it's not paid enough. What are some of the things that you wish that the youth of today could see in work? And because you've seen all stratospheres of work, so like, what do you wish that they could see that they're obviously not fully acquiescing?
Yeah. I mean, there's certainly, when you work hard enough and you get to a certain level, then things change quite a bit on you know, what you're able to do, and not necessarily things that you buy, but for example, travel. So if you can work hard and do well, then you can travel more, and travel is huge in our family. We do a lot of traveling. I do a lot of traveling with my wife, and so I think just grasping that you do have to, when you're starting out, you do have to put in those hours, and you do have to have commitment, because you're not going to get, there's no free lunch.
Nope.
And, you know, I've worked my butt off for, 35 years in real estate and another 5 years in banking before that. So
Yeah.
it's been a lot of
a
hard
few
work.
years.
And someone else said this to me the other day. That they're in real estate, and they said, I feel guilty because I went home today early, and I just put my feet up. And like, I've had that pretty much my whole business life. Is not to say I don't slack off a bit, but there's a bit of the guilt when you're in total commission sales. You can't just hang out at home. I mean, some people may be able to work from home, but I wasn't able to. And for me to just kick my feet up and relax day after day, it wouldn't work out.
I found my productivity went up when I got my studio running.
Okay, yes.
Because then I could move the work out.
You were out of the house?
Yeah, and even though I would get started at work earlier when it's at the house,
Yeah.
I just found that productivity-wise, like I was able to achieve much more being at work.
Yeah.
Right? And so now I've got a nice blend of like probably about 60% of the time I'm at the studio, and then 40% of the time I'm on the road or working from home.
Right. Yeah.
And I can say that the days, I have to switch them around a bit, but for the most part, the days that I spend at the studio are the ones that are the most productive, just because there's zero distractions. There's nothing to like, you know, I got to go do this, I got to do that.
Yeah.
So,
And I think, you know, a lot of companies and banks in particular had realized that people are more productive when they're in the office.
Yeah.
And
we currently offer it as like hybrid work in the studio, but it's like it's very hard to monitor, right?
Yeah.
To see like what work's being done and what's not being done. And that's
Yeah.
the hard part about the work from home.
Yes.
And the hybrid work is like you're kind of at the whim of like, okay, is this done? Is
Mhm.
this not done? You know,
Right.
like what do you need? Are you stuck and all this? So
Yeah. For
yeah.
sure.
There's a lot of tools out there that can make it easier, but ultimately it's it's just a guessing game sometimes
Yeah.
for the
And also there's, a lot of intangibles when you're at the office and you run into someone, then all of a sudden you've got an idea, or
Mhm.
maybe like for us, it's like talking to another realtor, and it's like all of a sudden they've got a need. They've got a client with a need for a specific house,
Yep.
and you're chatting with them just off the cuff, and well, I've got what you're looking for.
got this right here.
So there you go. There's a deal that wouldn't have happened if you were at home and I was at home.
Yeah.
Because we probably wouldn't have picked up the phone and called each other.
No.
But you run into these situations, and lots of deals done around the coffee
Yes.
pot, supposedly. I don't drink coffee, so
You're not a coffee drinker?
no.
Really? Tea then.
I do.
Yeah.
I do drink tea. Yeah.
Yeah.
Never got on the coffee.
Yeah.
Mhm.
When it comes to travels, why is travel so important to you? Because like obviously when you're talking about travels, you can kind of lit up. You're like travel
Yeah.
where it's at. Like what makes it so?
Well, it's definitely the experiences. So I've done a couple of habitat builds, and one was in Nepal, and that was me going to a different country and not knowing who I was going with. We met in Nepal, so there was about 20 people that signed up online, and you pick the country you want to go, you pick when you want to go, and then they'll assign you to a certain build. So that was 15 years ago, and I just signed up. A local gal by the name of Kristen Crow, you probably know that name.
Yep.
She did a house build with some local Belleville people, and I got wind of that, and I'm like, geez, that's really interesting. That's, it's not a typical week of travel.
Yeah.
Going to the beach in Mexico.
Yeah.
It's a real experience, and then you get to meet people
Mhm.
from all over. You get to appreciate a new culture,
Mhm.
and so it's pretty exciting to just show up and I'm not talented when it comes to building.
No.
No, I know how to sell houses, but I don't know how to build them. So I had never really done much in terms of.
So you had to learn how to swing a hammer and.
Yeah, and it's not necessarily skill, but it's energy they're looking for.
Yep.
and commitment. So
Yeah.
Learn while you're there.
I feel like you're someone who doesn't lack in the energy department. You're willing to
Right.
give it a shot.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very, very true. And then I did another build in Portugal, and I got to Portugal through Air Canada. They flew me over there, and I got to my destination, and my luggage didn't arrive. And in my luggage was a hard hat, was work
Your
boots,
gear. Yep.
all my clothes for 10 days of building, and nothing arrived, if you can imagine. And I was
That's
there
fun.
with 15 other people. And I got through the week because there was clothes that were donated to this Habitat owned a house where people stayed in while they were building. So I had borrowed clothes for 10 days.
And so you just traveled out solo and did this, right? This was
So I've done these solo.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, Kristen did it with a group of friends from Belleville, which is great. But I kind of wanted to just do my own thing and just meet new people. So I'm often interested in doing that and not necessarily having someone with me
So you, as someone who's so willing, like, because you're all about community, but then you're happy to go out and travel by yourself, like this, kind of a bit of a dichotomy there, right?
Yes. Yeah. And I don't want to do that all the time.
Yeah.
I travel with my family a lot too.
Yeah.
So no, it's just to have a different experience. And we're doing, like, we just got back from Colombia. We did a G adventure tour, and that was 15 people that we didn't know. So that was my wife and I. And so that's a different experience, right? We could have went to a beach in Mexico all inclusive.
Yeah.
No, my wife was not really interested in doing that again. We've done that with the kids for a number of years.
Yeah.
But just, the experience and meeting new people. And, some of these countries you go to, you do want to know where to go and where not to go.
Yeah.
So an organized trip is not a bad idea.
Yeah.
For some of these destinations.
How many kids do you have?
3.
3?
Yeah.
And how old are they?
The oldest is 31, and then 29, and then 24.
So they're all in working.
They're all working now.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
How do you imbue success into your children when you're kind of growing your business and you're doing what you're doing? How do you help them define success, and how do you help them move towards their dreams?
Yeah. And I think, it's often, if you see how hard that I work and my wife works, then you're kind of showing them the way, so they can appreciate that we're not just sitting around, and we are working hard, and both of us are committed to what we need to do to show how you can be successful.
I think that when we talk about success, especially with our kids, it's a really hard, because you want them to be successful, but you don't want to dictate their success for them.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So any of the kids in real estate?
No.
They're doing their own pathway right now?
They're doing their own thing. Yeah. And I don't expect that they'll get into real estate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't think so?
No.
Do you think they saw you and went, hell no? Or?
No, it's just they have different skill sets. Yeah. So I just don't see that they're going to get into real estate.
So what do they do?
My oldest is a physiotherapist.
Okay.
Yeah. So she's healthcare. And so that's my oldest daughter. And then my son is on Bay Street. He's in finance.
Okay.
And then my youngest is she just finished her first degree and wants to maybe go into occupational therapy. So 2 in healthcare.
So 2 in healthcare, yeah.
And 1 in business. So I don't think any of them are going to go into real estate in Belleville.
So far.
So far.
Yeah. With your side projects, there must be some projects where you're going into it going, I am looking to do this. But so we'll take the church, for example. When did you decide to change it into what is now the loft?
Yeah.
Like, how did that come up?
So if you back up a little bit to when I moved to Belleville, then I initially bought a duplex, was my first investment. I lived in it. And then when Judy and I got married, we bought another house, and we kept that duplex. And that was actually 40 years ago, and I still own that duplex.
Yeah.
So it became an investment, and I have built on that, on buying other investment properties. So the church was a little different because all of these other assets were income producing.
Yep.
I had tenants. I've dealt with tenants for 40 years.
Yep.
And then, I might buy a bigger building and then a bigger one. But on top of my real estate, I was managing properties. And then on top of that, I was getting into these other side projects. So, that's why I had to work 12 hours a day.
Yeah.
Because
to fuel all of it.
Yeah. And then the church wasn't the first development, but it was a whole new idea. And I bought it not knowing what I was going to do. And Airbnbs were just coming into existence then. Like I was one of the first licensed Airbnbs in Belleville.
Wow.
Yeah. Not to say that they weren't out there, but the licensing took a while to happen.
And it's a whole process to get
It's a process. Yeah. Yeah. So when Belleville brought in the licensing, I had just opened, and then I think I'm number 6 in Belleville.
Wow.
To be licensed, and I want to go by the rules and pay the MAT tax. That's the municipal accommodation tax.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I bought the church, and I wasn't sure if it was just going to be a rental.
Yeah.
And then I thought, well, let's do Airbnb, and we were able to kind of keep some of the character of the church.
Yeah.
And then, it became kind of a fun project. And matter of fact, I remember, because I had bought and sold several buildings, but when I bought the church, it was like, this is now exciting. It's totally different than what I have been buying to date.
Yeah.
Right. But it also involved a huge investment because it was gutted right to the walls.
Yeah. I remember seeing that
Rebuilt
place when it was like.
And we did a documentary with
Victor,
with
yeah.
Victor.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was gutted, and it involved a big investment.
Yeah.
So that's not easy to do, but it's able to pull it off.
Yeah. I think it's wonderful to see, because you're often picking up places and making them into something more than what they were.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's the beauty of that. Is there any projects on the go right now that you can reveal that you're kind of working on? Like, what is your current?
Yeah. So the latest project is it was a rundown motel in Foxborough, and it's called the
Okay.
Ashley.
Yep.
And it's like a boutique motel. It's small.
Mm-hmm.
It was, when we bought it, a rundown motel that it had like longer term tenants, and they had some difficult tenants that they weren't keeping the place very good. So that was a total renovation, and I do have a business partner with that.
Nice.
Yeah.
And
So that's the latest.
And that's going to be a hotel.
So it is fully finished now.
Yep.
And it's running as a motel.
Very cool.
Through Airbnb.
Yep.
And so we don't have an office there.
Mm-hmm.
It's just you'll get the instructions through Airbnb to check in. And it took us 5 years to do the renovations.
Wow.
And relocate some tenants there.
Mm-hmm.
But we're now finally done, and it's beautiful.
Yep.
We rebuilt it from the ground up. And of course, you might have a budget in mind, and during COVID and after COVID, things have escalated, and including this building that we're sitting in, like astronomically.
Yeah.
And even being in the business, I couldn't have guessed how much I was going to spend. And people would say, "Do you have a budget?" Well, I don't, because I know I'd blow that budget out of the water anyways. But that's just the way things have gone.
When you can see these builds where they start and then they stall, and you're just like, oh, someone was not ready for that.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the building we're in now, that was like a three-year project, just design. Renovation, building permits. So, and again, I didn't dream that I would be investing so much, but the end product, I think you'll agree, is pretty spectacular.
Oh, it's stunning in here.
Yeah.
Would you, if young Tim could talk to current Tim, how would he feel about current Tim? Like, would he be inspired? Would he be shocked? Would he?
Probably a bit of everything. Yeah. And I'm in the restaurant business too. And I'm a partner in the local social house, which was an idea I had. Now, I didn't always say I want to own a restaurant, and it's funny because some of these projects I was hired by the owner to sell the building, and I would try to market it and wasn't successful, and said, I can do this better. I can do it on my own, or I can bring partners in. So that's happened more than several times, where I might have had a fiveplex for sale. I had people that wanted to buy it. They weren't able to put the money together. And I'm like, well, this is a no-brainer. I did that several times, where I had the capability and wherewithal to finance something. And then I'm like, well, I can do this. And it ended up working out very well. And the restaurant was a different project. I needed partners.
Yeah.
I had great partners and still have. But I think young Tim would have said, are you out of your mind? And old Tim said, yeah, I probably am.
Is there a transition point? Because I know, like, when we're all working, we're kind of figuring out where we want to go, and we've got these big dreams, right? Was there a transition point where you hit a point where you're like, A, this is the point of no return, and B, everything's going to kind of work out, right? Like, at this point onwards, whatever we get is like incremental growth. That's fine.
Yeah.
But like, we've made it.
Yeah. I mean, there gets a point where you don't want to be too overextended and going in too many different directions. And my brother Sean, that's a broker, and my dad was like this too. It's like, okay, you've done well in real estate. Keep going down that path. And there are a couple of prominent Belleville business people said to me when I was putting a group together to buy the restaurants, like, Tim, like, you're doing okay in real estate. Why are you diverging off that path?
Because restaurant business is renowned for being easy.
Yeah, right. That's right. And my brother Sean said, stay in your lane. You don't need to go outside your lane because you're doing well. But, at the time, I got to the point where, and like during COVID, our market was crazy. Things were going up quickly in price. Everything was selling quickly. So, it was really good times.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say it was easy, but, I saw potential in a lot of projects. And matter of fact, I think I bought 3 or 4, maybe even 5 properties during COVID that, they all needed to be reworked or renovated.
Yep.
So I'm not going to say my timing was the best, but they've all turned out fine. I haven't had any disasters, but it's certainly a learning curve when you get into something like the restaurant business, where I honestly did not know anything about restaurants.
Yeah.
And for me, it was always a real estate play because we were buying the building, improving on the building, doing a big renovation with the big patio over the river.
Yeah.
So that was a real estate play for me, not necessarily did I want to be a restaurateur.
Yeah.
And I have very little involvement in the restaurant other than making decisions, like financial decisions.
How do you go up against people when they're saying don't do it?
Well,
especially because your family was saying this, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, and some good
business people,
good family friends. Yeah.
So
I actually said, like, I'm going to prove you wrong.
Did you have something to prove?
Did I have? Well, maybe just to be a little bit versatile. Like, you don't want to be known maybe for just one thing. And I thought, yeah, it'd be nice to show that I'm a little versatile. I don't think I've done that yet, but
you're getting there.
Yeah.
Amazing. I think when someone says to an entrepreneur that you can't do it, their natural inclination is to be like, watch me.
Yes. Yeah.
Right? Like
and that's in my personality too.
Why do you think that? Was there a part of you that you'd become so consistently good at what you're doing that you're like, I want to struggle to get to that point again? It's like, let's dive into the thoughts and feelings behind that a bit more.
Yeah, it was more to do with kind of broadening what I was doing, I think. And not necessarily to show off, but just like to prove to myself that I was capable of doing something more than what I was doing.
Yeah.
And like these side projects are very interesting. Like they kind of excite me about doing something different. And I've always been about trying to make the community better.
Yep.
And I think, I've done it maybe one project at a time.
Yeah.
Slowly. But, we have a lot of 5-star reviews on people that haven't been to Belleville before that are staying in these places or eating at these restaurants. And so it's more, for me, just having a bit more variety in what I'm doing day to day.
Yeah.
Not just selling real estate. Not that there's anything wrong with just selling real estate, but
yeah,
I just got to the point where I want to do some other things and just see myself if I'm successful at doing some other side projects.
Yeah. So, because with people saying don't do it, with people saying don't, like, how do you go against that grain, against the people that, like, is it a self-belief? Like, you're like, I know I can do this? Is there a doubt in your mind? Are you asking, can I do this? Or like, break that down for me a little bit.
Right. Well, I think initially it's like, well, I think I can do it. Maybe these guys know more than I do, but, and like in hindsight, they were bang on with, like, it's not going to be easy. You think it's going to be easy. Well, there's nothing that was easy about it.
Mhm.
And, there's the financial side, but there's also the time side of things too. And, I do think, um, I want to say, not that I would have been more successful just staying in real estate, but probably financially, I would have been better off if I had not
Just
done any side project.
yeah. Do you find solace in an uphill battle?
A little bit. A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
I think so. But
Is that from being one of seven, you think? Like,
probably.
trying to
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
stand out a bit and
That's right,
just
yeah.
yeah.
I think so. Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
that's pretty awesome. This place is stunning. And
Thank
so
you.
I just want to congratulate on this because I know this has been, like you said, 3 years in the making really to make this happen.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Can you tell me a little bit about the space and what makes it so special to you? Because you had
Sure.
the loft, which is right next door.
Yeah.
And now this space here, which is the landing.
Yeah.
Tell me more about this space in particular.
Okay. So when I bought, a couple of funny stories here, but when I bought the church, the owner of the building that we're sitting in came over and said, "What are you doing with your garbage bin on my property?" And it was on the corner of the church.
Yeah.
And although I didn't have a survey when I bought the church, I did see, it's called Geo Warehouse, and it shows you the dimensions of the lot you're buying.
Mm.
And I owned a bit of land around the building, but he said, the only land you own is what the building sits on. So if you go back to 1878, this land was owned by, some land baron, and the church, which it used to be called the St. Paul's Anglican Church. So there was an Anglican church up the hill, and they decided that the people in the wharf, this was called the wharf, this was actually called Wharf Street, and it was renamed to St. Paul. And this was St. Paul's Anglican Church. But at one time, whoever was running the church said, "Can we have a piece of land down in the wharf so that the people that get off the ships that have dirty boots don't come up to our nice church?" And they literally built a community church here. And everyone from the neighborhood would come here and they would walk. And there was no parking. Everyone was just walking to the church.
Mhm.
And that happened, for 150 years. And eventually the congregation died off.
Mm.
And I don't know if I mentioned this before, but when I bought the church and we were gutting it, and we had this bin outside through the interior of the church,
Yeah.
I had these church pews, and I put one on Facebook Marketplace, and I had a lady that said, "I would like the third pew on the right side, right by the window." I'm like, "Really? Why do you want
Really
that
specific,
one?" She said,
yeah.
"My grandmother sat there for 50 years looking out that window, and I would love that one." So when I got wind of that, I'm a friend of Victor Cooper, who's a film producer, and I called him and said, "How do you feel about doing a documentary?" And I thought, there's a bit of a story here. She wants this one pew, and there's a lot of history here. We interviewed the priests that had gone through and done the services there, and I thought, okay, well, there's a great story here.
Yeah.
And she wanted that pew because her grandmother sat there, and so we did a documentary. So fast forward, we're gutting the place, and the owner of this building comes over and says, "Could you get your garbage bin off my property?" I'm like, "Well, I own a little bit of land here." And it turned out I owned about 10 feet around the church.
Oh, no.
But that backyard with the bunkie and all of the outdoor kitchen and all that was, the land was owned by this gentleman. And this used to be the location for the airport limo service. So Belleville Airport limo service ran out of here. And I don't know if you remember, you probably do, but it was a rundown building that there was never any money, any money put into the building. The owner had his Hummer parked right where we're sitting, and he had another antique car. So it was basically a garage.
Yeah.
And
To the Mustang, right?
yeah, you're right. Yeah, he had a Mustang. Yeah. So eventually I said, "Well, do you want to just sell me this property?" He said, "No, I don't want to sell this property." And and it took me like 3 years of negotiating, and then we came to an agreement on him selling it to me, but he didn't want to close. He didn't want to see the gain for tax purposes. So
he needs a certain date to close by.
yeah, so we did like a 2-year agreement where I was buying it, but I wasn't taking possession for 2 years. And in that agreement, I said, well, can I improve the land with some ideas? And I built the outdoor bar.
Yep.
I built the other bunkie there. We did all the outdoor kitchen at the loft. So I was doing quite a bit without owning this, but we had a firm agreement that I would take it on at a certain date. So what happened was I had to own this because the loft wouldn't have been any good without the backyard there.
Yeah.
It would have been like you stepped out the door and you'd be on someone else's property.
So fence around it.
Yeah. So, I bought the church first, and then I thought, well, now I need to own this. And, thank God I do because, well, it's turned out. And then we did a change of lot line. So where this was an L shape, we now have 2 separate properties that are more squared off.
Yeah.
And
that sounds like a logistical fun time.
Yes. Yeah. And then, then it took me a couple of years to navigate what can I do here?
Yeah. And
it had a commercial zoning in a residential area, which is called legal nonconforming. So this building was built, I think, around 1958, and it was built for a commercial cleaning company called Hunt Brothers. They went into offices and cleaned them, and this was their basis. So it was an industrial building, but very residential area that we're in. So, I had to navigate, okay, what can I do here, given that I've got a commercial use, and it was difficult. I initially wanted to build a duplex here.
Okay.
And without getting too much into the weeds, it was not easy to just build a residential or renovate to residential.
Yeah.
Because it was a commercial use, so that complicated things.
Yeah.
And then I shifted and said, well, I'll make it like more commercial, more office use. And that's what you get here today. But I also wanted to have it as a venue for parties. So we've had 95th birthdays, 80th birthday neighborhood. We've had celebration of life here. We've had a wedding here, a few retirement parties, and now we're getting office companies coming in using it for team building. And
it's a great space.
Yeah. And one office they're renovating, and this is their office now. And they have so many days booked. And we book things daily.
Yeah.
And then you can stay over as well. But it's turned out like way better than I was anticipating in the spring. Yeah. I'm like, what am I doing? What am I getting myself into?
This? Yeah.
Yeah. Because it was a very sizable investment.
Yeah.
As you can. Well, you were in it before, so you know.
I got to see it when it was like the roof needed to be redone.
Yes.
And
well, that was the first thing.
And
I asked the previous owner, how's the roof? Oh, it's fine. Well, it wasn't fine.
Yeah. As soon as you walked in, you're like, that ain't fine.
Yeah.
I mean, it is a night and day shift from what it was.
Yeah.
Right. And you're going to be pretty proud of that. So.
Yes. Yeah. No, I'm very proud. Now, I have a great team of contractors that have put this together, and the same contractor did the church as well. Yeah. So he's been with me on several projects.
Do you find that are you in your mind planning the next thing? You just don't have a property aligned with it yet? Is that something?
I don't have which?
So it's like you have a concept in mind, but you don't know the right property for it yet. You're just holding on to the idea in hopes that the right property comes along.
Well, given my age, like I'm slowing down on these projects, and I'm not rushing into anything further. And my wife said, like, how many properties do you need to own?
Yeah.
Right? We've got enough on our plate.
Yeah.
So I'm not actively seeking any other projects.
Yeah.
Because we're still
working
on them. And there is a certain amount of management involved with like Airbnbs.
Yep.
And I'm lucky I've got people that help me with that. But it's not easy to run this, nor the loft. There's a lot of management involved.
Yeah. It reminds me of, and this is like a completely different concept, but it's very similar. There's actually, when you're taking over land, there's actually two armies. the first army is like your army to go out and take the land.
Right. Yeah.
But the problem is when you take land, you're left with swaths of people that need help. Right? So then you have that second army to come in and occupy. So you have like your attack force kind of thing, and then you occupy. But it's never just one army that goes out and does that.
Right.
It's two armies. And so like in business, it's the same thing where you go out there and you're spearheading this.
Right.
But then you have to have the systems to keep it there. And then you can spearhead again. And then it's like, it's like, and it just grows exponentially each time, right? Because it's never just one. Because then suddenly one person who's dealing with 5 things here is now dealing with 6.
That's right.
7. And then they need an upgrade. And then it's just this revolving door of people at that point.
Now, if I was 20 years younger, it'd be different. But, it takes a while to get to this point where you can.
You must be pretty proud.
Yeah. No, I am. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's all about having the right team players, the construction people, and people helping you run things. So.
Is there a defined point in your life where you were like, we made it? Is there that? Because I mean, as someone who's building companies and doing all this work, to me, it just feels like this never ending, like, okay, log in, get this done, do this, and you're always building. You can see the progress behind you.
Right.
But is there a point where in your life where you sat there and you were able to go, we got it, we did it, we're good?
Yeah, there's certainly milestones that you get to that you're like, wow, I made it this far. And whether it's a RE/MAX award for number of deals you've done. And yeah, certainly on these projects, like grand openings, the grand opening here and the ribbon cutting, that certainly gives you some, confidence and a moment of being proud of what you've accomplished.
Yeah.
But I would say maybe once all the debt is paid off, that'll be a new milestone.
Yep. That's a good point. Yeah.
might have to see.
Money, right? So,
I might have to see you in 30 years.
Yeah. It's like, I'm still doing this. We got it. So Tim, it's been an absolute pleasure to chat to you. And if anybody wants to get in touch with you or find out more about you, how and where's the best place to get hold of you?
At Tim McKinney at RE/MAX Quinty. And we've got the website called The Loft and the Landing. Also got the local social house. And we haven't had a grand opening yet, but we have the Ashley Boutique Motel in Foxborough, Ontario, close to some of the finest golf destinations in the area.
They have Black Bear just around the corner, isn't it?
Black Bear and Trillium Wood.
And Trillium,
Yeah. So, thank you. This was extremely fun to do. Awesome. And you've got quite a business going there. Congratulations to you.
Thank you.